Grime to me is like the sound of England, you know. I suppose primarily, you know, it's the sound of East London, you know, in the 2000s. Like that defines it. When I hear grime, I think of tracksuits, Air Max, and you know, just and raves, and just, you know, and like it's just a real English vibe that it could have only come out of that place. I think at that time. It's hard to define grime. You know, some people say you can't define it. Some people say it's, you know, it's defined around its BPM. Primarily, for the most part, you could say, you know, it's 140 BPM beats, you know, which in hip hop is going to be, you know, traditionally like a kind of double time, like Dead Prez, hip hop, ludicrous kind of tunes, you know. But the difference between those tunes and grime tunes, you know, it's a lot of sparse drum patterns, and sometimes you can have just the drum on its own, you know what I mean, or on one sound, and it's, you know, it's they're very off kilter, some of the beats, you know what I mean. It's not just straight fall to the floor sort of feel to it, you know.
As far as I've seen you, like back in the day, you'd go to grime raves where no one would even spit. It would just be like garage sort of like club tunes. But yeah, like, I don't know, I guess just anything 140, and also the rhyme schemes are heaps different. The way people can spit one line flows and like just rhyme the same thing over and over again, but it's just hype as. Like the whole concept of just wheel up bars and like little hooks and stuff, and being able to like just spit verses back to back without tripping up at all. See, in hip hop, like people cypher and stuff, but if they get caught off guard, there's not really anything to bring them back. So with grime, it's like just being able to kind of hold down and keep the flow and like have rises and drops as well.
Yo, make the crowd holler, can't act whack on a track, only rap for $1. MC stopper, ain't no I couldn't give a fuck what brains on your collar. Don't talk shit, but I say what I wanna grab mic on the start, you're a goner. Wanna spit lines on my time high, as a kite like get fried, go right to your nonna. Drop raps live and you drop sack like, yeah, but you seen how my squad rap, right? Nah, don't give a rap's backside so you can hop back onto that pipe like. Cats wanna know where I'm from. This ain't London, this ain't the Bronx. Cats always chat when I know where I'm from. Tell them in the studio making shit bomb.
One back smash, but I know. Jack to the back of the show, go pack me a cone. Let me get back in my zone. Let me get back in my zone like yo. One back smash, but I know. Jack to the back of the show, go pack me a cone. Let me get back in my zone. Let me get back in my zone, cause I get too drunk to function. Plus the pub chuck to be rushed to function. Run the punch up, come to nothing. Shut the fuck up, you're not tough to bluffing. When they yap but they crumble with the fact. Most constantly when I rumble with the pack at the crap. Gonna mumble when you're whacked and you whack, get whacked from the fucking humble of the tack. Cause I crash through the roof of the brew for the crew, make a tune, have a breathe, and I dust off head with a few loose screws on my nut job. Yeah, I need a bruise, if a dumb dog. That's what I'm on. Air Max new tracksuit, that's what I'm on. Fresh new tattoo, that's what I'm on. Max on the fat suit, that's what I'm on. What I'm on. Yeah.
Real.
Smash.
Real. I was first introduced into grime probably around 2002, I think it was, 2003, through Byron, also known as Felony, a guy from 9 Higher crew I'm in. I remember him coming around my house. I remember I'd heard a lot of buzz about a few of the names, you know, but I hadn't heard any music, and he came around my house with, I think it was Kano, spitting on Eskimo rhythm. And I was just like, yeah, blown away, like it was something just mad different, you know, just fresh, new, because it was coming out, and yeah, I just was hooked from then, basically.
When I started getting around to producing it, like I was listening to it for probably like a year and a half before I ever started really writing it or producing it. And that was like a bit to get my head around just the whole style, and like it's such a deep genre, there's so many things and so many ins and outs. But yeah, it was like pretty much through web shells just showing me stuff, yeah, pretty much.
Through Devlin, fucking probably back in like 2011, 2012, like, yeah, heaps back in the day. Like, I started writing grime before I read any hip hop and stuff, like, yeah, definitely got me into it.
So originally when we opened in Ormond, we never really had any idea that we'd do rap videos or cyphers. And then I think it was actually our 3rd day of opening, Fracture and Dime came through, which was just crazy because I never thought I'd ever even meet them. You know, and Fracture sold us one of his Polo Stadium pieces, which was an absolute grail of mine, and Dime unloaded heaps of Stoney as well, which was just crazy. And then from there we just started talking with them, became pretty good mates with them, and we originally just came up with the idea that we'd want to do a cypher. So we got the whole BCE crew pretty much. We got Scotty, Fracture, Dime, Alex, whoever else in that original video. And then it was just sort of like an experiment. We just thought, yeah, let's film something in the store and let's just see how it goes. And then it went well, so we've just continued doing them.
You don't wanna clash with IV, you think you're a hot shot till IV, you keep talking up. When I see you eye to eye, you end up in the ICU. It's fair and I'm here and I might see through, like the pipe you put your eyes into. You got double vision when you look in the mirror, you try face up, think I want an IC2. Two-faced snake, Siamese python, picked up a mic and try to recite violence. Lips on a pipe saliva full of ice in real life, you're not even a Simon. It's all hype, the type, like I'm saying, it's on sight, they're quietly right by it. Can't even write, you bite like Mike Tyson, living a dream, man, you're feeling like Mike Righteous. You pretend to be something you're not in front of your friends, you try to stunt, you're a flop, pick up on a pen, you cunt to front like a boss, get done in the end. I bet your mum couldn't watch like, oh my gosh, that's not my son. Did I stutter my brother? That's not my son. Looking at your mates like, what am I done? I make your chick say, yeah, what am I done?
Grime, to me, you know, it's not always just about the music. So grime is sort of a culture in a way. So it's how you dress, it's how you act, you know, it's how you speak. I guess, you know, guys in grime are always wearing really fresh clothes. Like, you know, if you look at Fracture, he'll always be wearing one of the freshest Stony jackets, you know. Same as Dime, he'll be wearing some really nice CP, you know. It's mixing that class with streetwear. And yeah, I guess with the link, it's probably just, it's about being fresh, and their style of being fresh is, yeah, intertwined with that sort of classy streetwear, I guess.
Well, I think in this day and age, everyone has a platform, you know, with social media and stuff. It's, you know, if something's good, it will get heard a lot of the times, you know, not all the time, you know, but it's, you know, if you put something on social media, if something's good, people will share it, you know what I mean? So it's very different, you know, to how it was. And it's a lot easier to get that outlet, but also, you know, there's a lot of crap that, you know, you've got to sift through, so.
It's huge, because people can market their music without any help now. And it's like, also, like it's good for the individual, but it also means that the scene is like very oversaturated, and that's like everywhere. Like anyone, if they've got a bit of like, you know, if they've got a bit of money or they know how to shoot a video, they can shoot a clip and they can chuck it on Facebook and sponsor it and get it seen by heaps of people. I think it's very important, especially for like emerging artists, when you got like SoundCloud, YouTube dropping clips, everything. Facebook's huge. Like heaps of people are dropping clips just on Facebook, and that's where I think most of the stuff gets shared around and people get seen.
Yeah, people blowing up on Facebook. Yeah, like pretty much posting all their content there like these days.
Myself, Affix and Arctic, we started 50/50 back in 2011. It's like we had a few other nights as well, roundabouts, and Affix had run a night called Heavy In It, a real popular night which had a lot of grime, but 50/50 was like the first primarily just nothing but grime event in Melbourne, and we had a few internationals kick it off. We had Teddy, we had Rude Kid, Swindle, you know, and they were, it kind of, the events went, you know, they were happened kind of sporadically since 2011, and then, you know, there was some were good attendances, some were terrible, you know, and then about 2 years ago, I thought, you know, I'm gonna really kind of switch it up a little bit, rebrand it a little bit, and since then it's just gone from strength to strength. Like now the nights are packed crazy every time. You know, if you've ever seen any footage of the nights, you know, they're fucking mental.
Yo, who's ready for nerve? What the?
Hey, what the fuck is up, Melbourne? What's the motherfucking line? Oi, check the flow. Give me all the ring on the get to the goal. Get it on the mix, another minute below. Look at it, check it, check the goal. Check that, son. You might pretend to bet that, son. Let's go for the next shot, man. You take your bet, don't take that, son.
Fuck, I don't know, man.
It's good.
a bit surreal. Like,
Yeah.
fucking oath, man. The grime gigs 50-50, they go right off, eh?
Yeah, the last one was ridiculous. Like, just the thing with grime, man, is comparing to boom bap and hip hop, people are hyped as soon as they hear the beat, you know, like, it's the type of music that just gets people going and, like, you can get hyped. Whereas, like, boom bap, you put on, like, a jazzy instrumental, people at the venue, they'll just bob their head, but, like, no one's going to be going nuts. And it's more, with hip hop, it's like what you're saying and punchlines and stuff, and that still applies in grime, but also grime has a lot of showmanship, like a big aspect of showmanship, and performing live's just like, it's ridiculous, man, going back to back with 20 MCs on stage. One of the things that I like about it is, about the sets and about 50-50, is having everyone on stage. I think that's hype as fuck, like, it's just like, unlike anything else really. 50-50 is huge for like grime in Australia, and cyphers, like all the Risky Roads, the Grime Report stuff that's been done in Australia, that's awesome. Just putting people out there and like having shows like that, because that was the first actual grime show I ever did, and I came down in February and did that and just met so many people straight away that I could start working with and like networking with. And Melbourne's kind of just a big hub for all sorts of stuff, so it's really good to have those gigs here. They're like perfect for that.
I think the future of grime in Australia is looking good at the moment, and it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. I hope that it, you know, doesn't just become a bandwagon thing, like, you know, or like a, you know, a grime version of, you know, sort of like the Triple J Aussie hip hop sort of generic sound. You know what I mean? Like, I hope it keeps its rawness, and I think it's in good hands at the moment. I think what needs to happen is there needs to be more events happening, mainly in, you know, in other states as well, like mainly in, you know, because 50-50, we're like the only one that is just what it is. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem like other states the MCs have the opportunity. You know, that's why they're all coming over here. The fans are all coming up to Melbourne for it. You know what I mean? The grime nights in like other states don't seem to have MCs playing, which is a shame. So I think the people, the guys need to just get on like a DIY flex and just start putting on their own parties themselves, because that's what we had to do with 50-50.
I reckon like, there's a big door, like open door for grime in Australia, because you can just see like a lot of young kids are kind of growing up with like, I don't know, like hip hop and grime and all that sort of culture is evolving in Australia, but it's always kind of been a bit behind. And I think like a lot of the young kids coming up are just like not really, like a lot of them are super into old school Australian hip hop, but I think it's just because this is like this new thing, and it's like, because of the way the scene's going at the moment with all these gigs and all these cyphers, it's really pushing everyone to like just go hard as, and I think like young people just like the tempo and the vibe, and yeah, so I reckon there's a like big future for it, as long as like people keep coming out and making music, yeah.